Welcome to 10-Minute Tips with Clearthought Consulting. In this session, we're going to look at where telemarketing fits in your sales funnel. In these sessions, we're using Kotler's model of rational decision-making, which is a 6-step process that takes a person from awareness through to purchasing from you and remaining loyal. At each stage, there are different things that the sales and marketing professional can do to assist that journey. We use the shorthand of TAPS to describe those activities that generate awareness and interest for your business, funnels as those activities that convert that awareness into genuine trial and evaluation, and your bucket being the products, services and brands, the things that keep people loyal and wanting to buy from you. So, where does telemarketing fit in this process? Here are some ideas for you. Up at awareness, there are 3 key areas that I would definitely recommend you using telemarketing for. The first is data cleansing. If you're going to send a direct mail piece or conduct a deeper telemarketing campaign, the first stop is to get your data right. You need to make sure that you're calling the right people. It's really important here that you look up the telephone preference service. This applies to businesses as well as consumers. But it's absolutely appropriate once or twice a year to go through your database and make sure that you have the up-to-date details. One of the key tasks of this exercise will be to identify the decision maker. That is the person who has the budget and the decision-making ability for the products and services that you have to sell. Now that you have that information, you can run a direct mail campaign or run a telemarketing campaign to those individuals. Now, if you're doing that sort of activity, it's absolutely crucial to have a reason to call. Calling up simply to book an appointment when there's no reason to do so can be a really frustrating exercise. Some ideas for you would be to pick up the phone and say, we've done some research or a paper in an area of interest, can I send you the details? Or we're running a seminar that might be of interest and we'd like to invite you. So those are 3 key things that you can do at that top stage of the sales funnel. The influence here is really quite high, and a skilled telemarketer can certainly help you build awareness for your business. At the next stage, generating interest, here are 3 key pointers for you. The first is to follow up triggers. And now what do I mean by a trigger? I mean if someone has downloaded a key piece of content from your website, you should be alerted to that fact, pick up the phone and ask them how they found the piece, talk to them about it. If they've attended an event, pick up the phone, ask them if they enjoyed it, see if they want any follow-up. It's really important that on these follow-up calls that you have a qualification checklist. Make sure that the person you're talking to has the budget, is in the market, and has a need for the products and services that you're selling. Once you've established that they have qualified as a lead, you need to have a next step. By this, we mean more in-depth content, a meeting, perhaps an audit or a free trial. So let's say that they downloaded a case study from your website and you pick up the phone and say, I'm glad to see you're interested in that case study, can I tell you a little more about it? Have to hand a presentation or a video of that case study that you can send them as a little bit of follow-up. Influence here is really quite high, and if you're really hot on your triggers, you can catch people when they're in the market for what you're selling. Next stage is in-funnel follow-up. By this, we mean the next step after you've gained their interest. So you've established they're a lead and they're definitely interested. Have to hand FAQs, blogs, case studies. Let's say you gave them a call a week ago, 10 days ago. Follow that up. Check that there aren't any more questions you can answer. Have pre-canned some telephone demos. This works brilliantly if you can, during a telephone conversation, share your screen with that individual and walk them through a demonstration of your product or service. And again, have a next step. Have referees that they can pick up the phone to. Have case study material that's relevant to the conversation you're having or the demo you're giving. Have a key expert who can come and attend a meeting with them or offer an audit or a free trial. Influence here is really high. It's very important to stay in touch with people whilst they're making those decisions. So when someone's in trial, so perhaps they've placed their first order or they're now conducting that free trial with you, what can you do? Well, we would suggest telephone check-ins. A courtesy welcome call on the first day of using your product or service can be really powerful, just to help them get set up, make them feel welcome, and make sure that they're aware of the service articles, how to, etc. that's available, should they have any problems. The influence here is less. Obviously, what they are doing is trying out your products and services, and that's going to be more important than the telemarketing follow-up, but you certainly can influence at this stage. What can you do to get people over that hump of adoption? Let's say that they've completed a free trial or they've completed their first purchase and you're now getting them to sign up to a regular purchase or a long-term contract. A few things that you can do: discount offers or a time-limited offer. Pick up the phone and let them know that within the next 7 days, if they place an order with you, then they can get X amount of discounts or they can have extra services thrown in. Make sure that whilst you're on the phone, it's very simple to order from you. There's nothing worse than picking up the phone, having someone say yes, and not actually being able to complete their order. The influence here is medium. Obviously, your products and services have to be up to the mark to get people over that hump, but you certainly can gain an added incentive with a bit of smart telemarketing. And what about loyalty? So many people think of telemarketing as awareness-driving activity, thinking about appointment setting. But telemarketing can be crucial to generating loyalty. Again, there's those telephone check-ins at key stages whilst someone is onboarding with your product or service. A welcome call is a really key call. Satisfaction calls, perhaps at the end of a cycle of service or at the end of each month. These can highlight if there are any issues to resolve so that people won't churn. Service reviews, just to make sure that they're getting the most from what the product or service that they're getting from you. These will highlight fantastic opportunities for cross-sell, upsell, as well as identifying triggers for churn that you can mitigate. It's also important to include your clients on those early calls that we talked about, your downloads and your events. These can be great added value. And of course, if it's appropriate to your client base, inviting them to hospitality events can be a really welcome call. So a quick recap. Up at the top end of the funnel, telemarketing can really add a great deal of value. In the middle section, the value is medium. Clearly your products and services need to be up to the mark. Don't discount the influence at the loyalty stage, it can be really important here. Some reasons to call: directing to a useful download, follow up once they've downloaded, invitation to an event, follow up for that event, a welcome call and a service follow up. Those are just 6 ideas that anyone should be able to include in their workflow. So remember, have a reason to call, invest in some training or an expert. Telemarketing is a skill and it's one that most people find quite tricky. And note all the calls made. It can be very embarrassing if you pick up the phone just to find that a colleague called 10 minutes earlier. Make sure that that's recorded in your database. I hope those have been useful ideas. You've been listening to Clear Thought Consulting, and there's much more information at our website at www.clear-thought.co.uk.